Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be focusing here on some test hands for Vendreads that we recently profiled yesterday. So we're going to be mainly focusing on going first, and I'll make a separate video where we actually focus on going second next time. But with that being said, this deck definitely has quite a few similarities to just pure zombies given how we built the deck, but at the same time, since we have the ritual element, it does definitely change things quite up a bit. So let's just see how things actually turn out. I am not entirely sure whether or not this would be better going first or second, so it's going to be demonstrated over here in these videos where I focus on the test hand. So with that being said, we're just gonna go with it and see how things turn out. But before I do, I would like to remind everyone to please consider subscribing, like, share or comment if you enjoyed this kind of video. But with that being said, let's begin. Alright, so here's an opening hand. As we can see here, there's definitely not much to work with. Wow, this is actually quite bad to be honest, but I could still definitely do stuff. For example, you have your Ash, you could just keep it in your hand, and that would be a great disruption, but you set the Super Poly, that's not too bad either. And of course you could summon out your Revenant right away, and just keep these two cards in the hand just in case, because what you essentially get here is, you get technically two disruptions, because let's say you actually, well, let's say the opponent tried to do something and tried to get rid of this. This is still 1800, it's not bad, it's just not particularly the most amazing. And not to mention, the great thing is at least this card can revive itself if it gets destroyed by an opponent's card, either by battle or card effect. So even if they get rid of this, at least it comes back. When it does actually come back, keep in mind you do have here the super polymerization just in case, so you can just discard the ritual spell because obviously we don't have any rituals in the hand, and you could fuse your Revenant and one of your opponent's monsters. Hopefully it's a dark type, and that way that meets the requirements, allowing you to go for either of your fusion cards here. Definitely fantastic. Otherwise, if they go for 3 links, you just go for the Almaduke. If they have 2 darks, you go for the Starving Venom, and if there's anything else, they go for the Mud Dragon. It's still applicable, and 2 disruptions like that is still not too bad for a starting hand. It's just not the most ideal. Alright, so here's our opening hand. That's a bit weird, but I think I could definitely work with this in some sort of way. We're going to summon out the Solitaire, tribute that off, allowing us to summon out our Uni Zombie of course, and Uni Zombie can then send off several cards. So in this case, it's up to you what you actually want to go for. This is definitely very nice here. So we're going to send off Gozuki as the card from the hand, but we could also send off one more monster. So what do we actually want to go for in this case? Well, Gozuki could actually just ditch off this and special summon out one of these from the hand. So you could actually summon out the Boulder Rock, or if you wanted to, you could go for your Mizuki. Use that as either as a link material or synchro material, and you could use that from the graveyard anyway. So that is an option, but we're also going to ditch off one card to the graveyard with Uni Zombie's effect. So what do we actually want to get rid of in this case? Well, we have quite a few options of course. Hound Horde is not bad because we could discard the Battle Lord, special summon that out, use that as fodder to extend the plays. Otherwise, you could just go for perhaps your Banshee and go for a zombie world, though it's not necessary in this particular circumstance. So maybe I'm thinking I'll get rid of the Glob Bloom. Should I? Or should I go for Hound Horde instead? I think Hound Horde would not be a bad option here. So if this card is in our grave now, we can just discard one of our Vendread cards and then special summon this back out, which is a level 3 of course. And with that being said, we could then take the Uni Zombie and the Hound Horde, the Hound Horde gets banished and the Unizombie goes to the graveyard, and we link up either for our Vendread Slayer or our Sucker, whichever option we want. What's nice about Sucker is that we could potentially draw a card. So let me just do this right here, because we're going to banish off Mizuki, special summon out Gozuki. Gonna also shuffle my deck. And because you technically summoned out a zombie monster, Sucker will actually activate, allowing us to draw one card. We get a pre-prep, I'm going to activate that, allowing us to then go for a Slayer and also our Origin, which is definitely fantastic there. So that's a great start. So in this particular case, what we could potentially do here is activate the Origin, and this will allow us to either ditch off our Balladrock, or we could also banish off our Battlelord and then potentially summon out the Slayer. So that would be a great option. So what I'll do there is get rid of that and go for the Slayer right there. So that's an option there. But here is an additional option you could have went for as an alternative. So instead of banishing off the Battlelord, you would actually just send off the Balladrock to the graveyard instead, and that would work with Slayer. We also have Gozuki over here as well, which is fantastic, because with Gozuki, what you could essentially do here is you could ditch off one more card from the deck to the graveyard. Now, when it comes to foolish plays, do not discard the Mizuki and then summon out the Balladrock. That's not a smart move. What you want to ditch off is Banshee, banish it off, and activate your zombie world. So we just activate that right there, because pretty much on the following turn, on the standby phase of your opponent's turn, Balladrock will then special summon itself back out because you have zombie world out. And keep in mind, you still have Gozuki here as well and Unizombie. That could pretty much just go for a link play, so you don't actually even have to go for a synchro there as well. And basically what we're going to go for here is, maybe we won't go for the Vendread Savior. We could, if we wanted to add back our Battlelord, and that could be a potential card here. But if we wanted to, we could also go for an Imp Masquerena as well, kind of preparing us to go for the Unicorn on the following turn, which is definitely fantastic as well. It's a great way to disrupt. So we have 1-2 disruptions here, but keep in mind, since Balladrock is coming back during your opponent's standby phase, Sucker will activate, allowing you to draw one more card. So it could be anything. Look at that, we happen to get an Ash, so if we wanted to, we could easily disrupt the opponent as well. Absolutely fantastic. Alright, so here's an opening hand here we could definitely try to work with. We have over here Unizombie, summon it out, and we could ditch either some cards from our hand to the grave, whatever we want. In this case, we have over here Mizuki, which is not bad, but we also have here Banshee. That is an option, but I'm going to think about what I'm going to get rid of from my deck first. It looks like we won't be able to go for any ritual summons, so I'm thinking the first thing we'll go for here is the Gozuki. This will then allow us to use Unizombie again, ditch off our Mizuki, and from that what we're going to do is banish off Mizuki, summon out Gozuki. Gozuki can send off one more card to the graveyard. So I will be sending off you could actually send off any random card in this particular case with the Gozuki. So you could actually just send off your Solitaire, which is a nice addition to do so. And from that we take the Unizombie and the Gozuki, link them away, and this will allow us to go for your Sucker. And from that what we're going to do here is we're going to take Gozuki and banish off our Solitaire, and this will obviously allow us to summon out our Banshee. So that is definitely a great option there as well. And let's see, what else can we do here? I mean, we didn't have to send off Solitaire. We could have just kept that, banished off the Unizombie instead with the Gozuki to summon out Banshee, and that way I could actually go for the Glow Up Bloom. That is an additional option. So let's see here. If we went for Glow Up Bloom, we could then only bring back one of our cards which would be the Ballad Rock to the hand, which doesn't really serve much of a purpose, but maybe we could make something work. I'm trying to think, maybe if we just send off the Hound Horde instead, and that way what we could do is we could ditch off this, summon out our Hound Horde, and we could draw a card out of Sucker. Alright, so now we draw one card out of Sucker because we summoned a Hound Horde from the graveyard. We get Monster Reborn, fantastic, that's actually going to work here. But you do have over here your Banshee and your Hound Horde. They link away, Hound Horde gets banished, and you can then summon out whatever you want here. So I would go for the Masquerena. You could also go for your Slayer as well, that is also a great option. Otherwise you could leave them on the field, but I want to also ditch off the Banshee, allowing us to then activate from our deck directly the Zombie World, and that way all of our opponent's monsters are zombies. You set here the Polymerization and the Super Poly, that is, and since your opponent has zombie monsters, you could just use their monsters, and basically what you do there is Synchro Summon to go for your Drag Necro Zombie Dragon, if you have it in that particular case. So that would be fantastic as an option there, since the Zombie World is there to disrupt. Plus, Ip Masquerena and Vampire Sucker, you can just Link Climb, either go for your Link 4. So our Link 4 could actually be the Abomination, quite a powerful card, or you could just go for your Unicorn, go for a bit of disruption there as well. Both are definitely great options. But yeah, this is not something I would complain about. It's not as good as the previous hand. The previous hand was definitely amazing, that's for sure. So that pretty much wraps it up for today's video, so I do hope you guys actually enjoyed this. Definitely leave me your thoughts as to what you think about this particular deck. After performing today's test hands, I realized that this deck can actually do a lot better when actually going second, since a lot of these cards actually interact the minute they actually summon out, meaning you're most likely going to be disrupting the opponents during their turn, or rather on the turn you're about to attack them. Which kind of makes sense. Being a zombie deck, you kind of want to be a bit more aggressive in this particular case, and I am definitely seeing that, so I'm now very excited to see what happens during turn 2 test plays. However, thanks for joining me today. I hope you all have a fantastic day. I'll see you all next time.